So the Blizzcon opening ceremonies just happened, and we finally got our first look at the new Overwatch tank hero that will be coming in Season 8. And yes, it is Mauga, as a lot of people probably suspected from, you know, the Sombra map and everything else, and basically everybody being like, yeah, it's probably gonna be Mauga. It's Mauga. And he looks really cool. I really like him, and I think his playstyle seems like it's going to be a more fun version of Orisa. So yeah, very excited to see him playable in the near future. But we do have a lot more information on his abilities and how his kit will work because of a leak from Nintendo of all places, who had actually leaked Mauga being the new hero a few hours before the presentation on the Nintendo eShop. So first, to talk about his primaries, Mauga has 2 chain guns that can be fired either individually or you can fire them at the same time. Odds are one's going to be bound to left click and the other's going to be right click, or just primary and secondary fire for people who might be playing on consoles or, you know, use really weird settings for their primary and secondary fire. So each of the chain guns have a unique attribute. The first chain gun is an incendiary chain gun that is called Gunny. Gunny will light enemies on fire once they take enough damage. This combos into his other chain gun, which is a volatile chain gun called Cha-Cha. Now, Cha-Cha will deal critical hits to enemies that are already on fire from the passive of Gunny. And these critical hits pair with Mauga's Berserker passive, which grant him temporary overhealth whenever he deals critical damage. Without any concrete numbers on how much health Mauga will have, it's really hard to say how good he could be. Because if he has a lot of health, then yeah, he's going to be a massive force to be reckoned with because he can just constantly heal himself by getting critical hits. It's also unsure if he'll be able to get critical hits normally by hitting people in the head, or if he's only going to be able to get critical hits through the use of the mechanic of lighting people on fire with one chain gun, and then the other will get guaranteed criticals. Because there are other weapon types that just are not able to get critical hits, such as Bastion's assault configuration is completely unable to get critical hits, so that's something we'll have to find out later. So next, to talk about the big thing, which is his abilities. Mauga's first ability is called Overrun. It is a charging ability that cannot be stopped by any crowd control. Yeah, I can hear the screams of pain of all the Reinhardt players right now because that's just kind of better than charges. The main difference between the two abilities is that Mauga's Overrun is going to be less lethal because Reinhardt can pin someone and basically instantly kill them if it's a low health hero. Meanwhile, with Overrun, Mauga just runs in and then he stomps into opponents, dealing a powerful knockback. So Reinhardt's charge seems like it's going to be more for mobility and have pick potential, while Mauga's Overrun is probably just going to be to knock people back and make space for his team to work with, and more importantly himself to work with, because he does have 2 chain guns as his primary weapon, so he probably does not want people to be too close to him. He'll probably want them to be more at a medium-ish range to close range, but definitely not directly in his face. So being able to run in and then knock people back will be very good for his 2 primaries and enable him to have that playstyle. Mauga's next ability is Cardiac Overdrive, in which he engages both of his hearts. Yeah, apparently Mauga has 2 hearts, something about lore, probably, we don't know yet, but engages an aura that reduces incoming damage and allows allies to heal themselves while also dealing damage. And until we get our hands on him ourselves, we can't really tell what exactly gets given to who. Like, will allies also get the damage reduction, or will they just get the self-heal while dealing damage? And also, will Mauga himself get self-heal while dealing damage, or does he only get the damage reduction? Either way, this could easily be one of the most broken abilities that Overwatch has, much better than any support ability in the entire game. Especially if allies do also get the damage reduction, it's just going to be absolutely broken. So I'm assuming only Mauga is going to get it, because otherwise it seems way too insane. But allies healing themselves from dealing damage is just really strong of an effect because it just gives them a lot of sustain during a team fight. And depending on how long the ability lasts and everything, it could easily be a much better form of self-sustain than a lot of support abilities that are in the game right now. So very interested to see how exactly it's going to work and what the limitations are, because depending on what those are, it could easily be completely busted. Especially since it's an aura, he can actually move it around with him and take it, so you can't even like kite away from the aura if you're the enemy team, so that the enemy team's DPS don't get constant healing through dealing damage, because Mauga's just going to be able to go move up with them and take the aura with him, and then just continue to let his DPS have a ton of sustain if they're playing with and around Mauga. So then the last thing is we have his ultimate. Mauga's ultimate is called Cage Fight. And how it works is that Cage Fight will trap nearby opponents in a cylindrical fighting ring. The barrier blocks enemy incoming damage or healing from the outside, and those inside are trapped inside to face Mauga with Gunny, Cha-Cha, and a barrage of infinite ammunition. So yeah, basically turns Overwatch into a 1v1, a 2v1 raid boss scenario where no one from the outside can help those on the inside. And I feel like this is very interesting of an ability because of how it's going to work. Like, if the barrier blocks people from the outside from moving through it, could he use it to like block off point or block off a choke point? Also, would Mauga's teammates be allowed inside of the barrier as well? Also, how many enemies will it be able to put inside of it? Could you trap an entire team inside of it, or only 2 people, only 1 person? And then also, just how long does the ultimate last? Because like, if you trap a hero like Moira in there, she's basically just going to die, or she's going to be trapped in there for like 10 seconds. So could you just kidnap a player and remove them from the fight? What about, you know, turrets, healing pylons, other placeable things like Symmetra's teleporter? Will those be able to stay in the arena if they're used? Like, if a Symmetra teleporter or a pylon or any turrets were in the area that the fighting ring gets created around, would they also stay in the fighting ring, or would they just immediately get destroyed? Because yeah, it could be a pretty wacky ultimate if it takes up space on the map that people just can't go through anymore. Because Mauga's a pretty big hero because he's a tank, so I would think that they'd have a reasonable amount of space in the fighting arena. So it'd be very interesting to see how it would work, because yeah, you could just use the ult right in front of the choke point on like a King of the Hill map where the enemy team has to get through to contest a point from their spawn quickly. Sure, there are flank routes that they could still technically get to, but if it's tight on time, you could just use it in front of there and then just refuse to fight the person who you trapped, so the walls just stay up for a long time, and basically you lock them out of point and time them out of that King of the Hill map. Also, how would it interact with stuff like the payload? To try and get this video out early, I'm more so going off of the Nintendo Switch leak of his abilities, but like, if you were to place it on the payload, would it move with the payload? Could you just completely block off the enemy team from contesting the payload with it? Sure, you'd have to lock someone inside, but like, what if Mauga's in like a 1v5 situation? He manages to just get, you know, a Moira in the arena on the payload with him. Could he just refuse to fight the Moira and just kind of stand there and tank damage until his team gets back and just like stall the payload indefinitely? I don't know, it's kind of just an insane ultimate when you think about all of the different objectives in Overwatch. There's definitely going to be a lot to test with how this ultimate interacts with the game, so I'm very excited to test him out soon. And you will be able to test him out soon because they're actually having a free limited time trial of Mauga for this weekend. Yeah, from Friday all the way until Sunday, November 5th, you will be able to play Mauga for free in Overwatch 2. He will just be made available to select in all game modes except for competitive, so that you can just play him. Of course, once it's over, he's going to be gone until December 5th, because that's when Season 8 starts. And then at that point, you will have to either pay money to unlock him instantly with the Premium Battle Pass, or grind him out to tier 45 to get him in the standard battle pass. So definitely take advantage of being able to try him out and seeing if it's a hero that you like before you decide to, you know, spend money on the premium battle pass if you do want to. I do think it's nice that you get to test out the hero a bit. That way, if you don't like the hero, you can just decide not to get the premium battle pass if you aren't interested in, you know, the mythic skin or anything else, or, you know, just getting the hero early so you don't have to spend a year trying to grind him out in the free battle pass. So yeah, very cool that Blizzard would do something like this, because normally only like streamers and content creators will get free access to a hero ahead of time. And also, to make playing as Mauga easier, they're going to have no limits be available in the arcade, which is going to be a great way for people to get their fill of hot 5-on-5 Mauga and Mauga action. So yeah, that's kind of it for all of these stuff about Mauga and everything. Please like and subscribe for more Overwatch, or if you want Mauga to sit on your face. And until next time, see ya.